Alrighty, welcome back, chaps and cherubs, to yet another Candy Eggs stream. Hell yeah, I am Candy Eggs, also known as everyone's ate their so favorite queer. Today we are doing something rather special. So today, I love this stupid little thing. Hopefully it's not going to be finicky. It's been finicky occasionally, but today we are going to be working on a project which I have not shown on YouTube at all. I've been planning to, but I simply haven't yet. It is my Fakemon project, which has been going on for a very long time at this point. I am working on it very sporadically. I normally have two main art projects at a time. Right now, one is my little comic tantrums construct, and the other is the exobiology project, of which many of you are aware, I am sure. If you haven't seen either of those, please go ahead and be sure to check out one, the exobiology project, Aliens, is here on YouTube. The other, my comic tantrums construct, can be found on Instagram at candy_eggs_comics. Whereas this project, right here, my Fakemon project, oh, hold on. There we go. My Fakemon project is found on Instagram as well at candy_eggs_PKMN. Heck yeah. So, as stated before, I have yet to actually show it off, and a lot of this art is incredibly old, as you can tell by the quality. But here's the starter Pokemon, because I know that everybody just loves to see those. The fire one is Mastorge. It is a bear, as you can see. The grass is Perugidant. And then water, we have Gyompyoshi. I have quite a few Fakemon on here. Ooh, I have a really big file with all of them on, but I don't want Krita to crash on me, so we are just going to hope that that does not happen. I might take a look at it in a bit, but for now, we have a couple new ones to be working on. So let us take a look here. I should probably explain. At this point in my little Fakemon project, we are in a cave. Not just any cave, but a very big, spooky cave. This is just level 1 of the cave. Gotta have more experience to travel any deeper into that cave than this first level, but the first level is still rather dangerous. So we've got a little 3-stage here. We've got Snotot, which is based on a Snotite, which is a type of mineral formation that looks pretty gross. And then it evolves into Boogiemon. Funny name. I need to be fixing up these sketches and then doing the line art. We are going to have a fun time today. Then we have Rhino Slima, the final evolved form. Doing a little dance, doing a little... Absolutely jigging. Whoa. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting on this. Let's go ahead and add a line layer to all of these. And then we can go ahead and get to business. So this is both a way to just sort of force me to work on the project, but also just to sort of document for anybody wondering exactly how I do work on this series, how I make the art and everything and what have you. Add in those. I will be fixing that in just a moment. Pardon. Thus is the beginning of the iconic Candy Eggs catchphrase, pardon. So that has good reach. Let's check this bad boy, and we are good to go. Shall we start getting into this? So I'm going to go ahead and start with our little Sonatot, but first let me make sure that this is balanced with my other thing. That is not very straight. We're going to be working on that as well. Just not yet. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fine and dandy? Alright, so we've got our proper thing. It's looking like this part. I am going to save like every half second just so everybody is aware. I have had too many programs crash on me to not get that going at any moment in time. Ooh, we have a friend over here. Federico says, nose. Yes, indeed, it is a nose. I don't knows if you have been seeing since the beginning, but we have a Pokemon based on the concept of a rhinovirus, pun, but and also a snotite, which is a type of cave formation. Andrew is out here, says what's up. The ceiling is up. I thought that was kind of obvious, although I suppose I could be outside, but I can't. I have to say that every time. Anytime anyone says what's up, I just have to. I simply have to. So the little bulb on top of its head is perhaps a little too tall, so I'm gonna go ahead and lower that a bit. Now that is looking fantastic. I believe I want to fix up this little body looking thing as well, but let's go ahead in the meantime and start sketching. How big should our line work be? 18, should we go up to 20? This project is incredibly inconsistent with line width, and that is fine. The smaller ones typically can have thicker lines, at least that's what I've been doing, so let's go ahead and get started, friends, shall we? I have been spending very little time on this project, and I have been wanting to get back into it, albeit slowly, because I do want to prioritize my other two projects, my comic and the exobiology project. But I decided I hadn't worked on this project for quite a few months. Let's stop saying That's a little bit annoying, but that's fine. I have been wanting to speed up this project, so that is going to do it for the line art on the nose. Normally I would be very picky, but I do just kind of want to make this project go a lot faster than it has historically. There's an eye. Aw, yeah. Then we have another one. It's a little turned in, which, especially with cartooning, is a very easy way to get some more interesting stuff going on. Instead of just being straight up and down, it does have this little angle, and it's not even a perfect oval. I say, well, I'm not able to draw a perfect oval, but it's this little almond shape. Just simple things like that can really set aside a design as something more than just the bare minimum. Ooh, we got some more messages. What's this pro? Let me make sure that that is the whole comment. Let me stretch out this. What's this pro? Assuming Andrew means what's this program? This program is Krita. Isn't that fun? I love Krita because it is free. It is far from the best thing, honestly. Okay, so the eye does touch the fronty bit of the nose. That's fine. Oh, what is this project? That is an excellent question. So, I am not sure if you have heard about the term Fakemon, but assuming you have heard of the term Pokemon, it is a game series which is a monster collector. Isn't that fun? And Fakemon is the name coined to refer to fan-made Pokemon. And unlike a lot of Fakemon creators, I like to give my things like all sorts of moves and stats and everything so that I can pretend that one day I will figure out how to code them into Pokemon Showdown. Isn't that fun? Ooh, we have an interesting question from Arthur, perhaps Arthur. I am not the best with names. What is the air pressure and density on Lapis? Would it counteract higher gravity in terms of allowing flight for creatures? So that is one of my favorite topics. So, first and foremost, I do want to say I like to avoid numbers with my exobiology project just because I don't really like physics or things tangentially related to maths like that. So I just sort of say it is like, it's like nearly twice as big as Earth, but it's not as dense. I just say made up things, and that's fun. But uh, assuming Lapis has a. Sorry, circles are very hard to draw. Assuming Lapis has higher gravity than Earth and more of an atmosphere, its atmospheric pressure is quite a bit more than on Earth. And the interesting thing about that is that the inverse is true of worlds that are very small. They have thinner atmospheres. The denser the atmosphere, the more air pressure there is, and vice versa. And in the same vein, let me sort of organize these brain thoughts right now. In the same vein, if you have a big world with a big atmosphere, you have big gravity, but you also have that big atmosphere, which means that things that fly, it is more difficult to get into the air in high gravity, but easier to stay in the air in high gravity because the air pressure is so high that swimming through the gas is more similar, or flying through the gas is more similar to going through a liquid. So in a world like Lapis, it is easy to stay in the air, but hard to get into the air. Whereas in a smaller world with a much less of an atmosphere, it will be easier to get into the air, but harder to stay in the air. So one might imagine on a high gravity world that organisms would greatly struggle to actually get into the air, but once they're in the air, they're like little beautiful little angelic things. They just keep going around and they refuse to touch the ground because it's so difficult for them to get back up. Whereas on a very low gravity world, you can imagine things sort of like grasshoppers, where even if they can fly, they really just kind of jump places. Like it's really easy to jump up into the air and then land somewhere, but it's hard to jump up in the air and stay in the air, if that makes sense. And I think that is really neat. And I really like things that fly. People who follow my endeavors on the internet know that I really like birds, I really like pterosaurs, and I really like insects. So when Lapis does actually get to discuss flighted things, we are going to be in for a very fun time. One of these days I need to show off my iconic paper airplane that I designed as a kid. It works surprisingly well, all things considered. I think the cheek is too big compared to the design sheet. Yeah, it's a little too big. Let's go ahead and follow this line instead. As you can see by my sketching, I sketch very loosely. I just sort of roll my pencil very quickly over, and if I make a mistake, I just sort of make a new line and then just keep on trucking. Andrew says it's better to keep it broad. It is honestly, especially for something that pretends to be so rooted in science. It's sort of like, but nobody can complain if I don't give numbers. Ooh, PA _Nyaka says, greetings. Hello, darling cherub. How are you? Frederico says, I guess this is a water type skull emoji. You see, I have been questioning what type this should actually be. It was conceived as a psychic type, and then it sort of turned into a poison type. And then now at this point, I kind of can't decide whether it is going to be a normal type or a psychic type. I'm leaning toward normal, but it will learn some funny things through level up. Let me read off, in fact, let me read off some of the iconic moves that I wrote down so that I would not forget what I wanted to give it. So some of the flavor moves that are very, very iconic to this Pokemon and its concept are going to be Odor Sleuth, haha, Bubble, haha, Gust, a Chew, Whirlwind, also a Sneeze, Extrasensory, because I was still thinking about it being Psychic type, now I'm not too sure, and Snore. Iconic. When I started this Fakemon project, a lot of the original idea was going to be about exploring the concept of Pokemon adaptation and Pokemon evolution in a literal sense, like a zoological sense. And this one was conceived as sort of like a non-mineralized example of what Pokemon like Nosepass came from. And since then, Pokemon has really expanded its horizons in ways that I really enjoy. Like, the Paradox Pokemon are a really fun idea that's sort of similar to this, as well as the convergent forms, or whatever they're called. So I guess in a way you could consider this something along the lines of a convergent Nosepass. Ah, yes, the poison type is also useful. I definitely wanted to learn moves like Sludge and Sludge Wave at the very least. UMPA says it gives... Oops. Let's... Oh gosh, how do we get rid of that? Oh no. Okay, let's bigify it. Oh yeah. Gives mushroom vibes. Excellent. Oops, that's my blue screen. Don't look at the blue screen. That's for my little talking critter. Something does not feel right about this thing. So I'm gonna like draw on the back of its head. That seems mostly right. Just go ahead and draw this on. Yeah. We are looking fine. I'm gonna thicken up the edges. I really like Pokemon, and although, well, it's not really a controversial opinion, Scarlet and Violet did not look very good, and it ran horribly, and it actually makes me a little bit sad. Because I love Pokemon. I love it. It is wonderful. My friend Lux and I play Pokemon Showdown all the time, and at some point I would really like to, like, I guess it's not really modding, just sort of like manually put these into Pokemon Showdown. That'd be really cool. Higher pressure would mean more oxygen dissolved in body fluids. That would help with intense movement. That is an interesting idea. That sounds correct. That is neat. That must have something to do with why creatures with hemocyanin function better at high pressures with gaining oxygen than hemoglobin does. I bet that must be related to that. I'm gonna try and scooch this over, trying to optimize my space. This heart is in the way. I will not ask how it feels. Understandable. Boink, 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 boink. Look at it dance, look at it dance. Boink, 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 boink. Kind of looks like one of those sticky hands. Wee Wee Series 5 Captcha Gaming time. So yes, I did see that Wee Wee Series 5 is out. Spursy and I have yet to place an order, but we are planning on getting some. Unfortunately, we're not entirely sure if we will get them with any sort of immediacy, just because Spursy wanted more of the blind bag dinkles, but they are out now. I like out as in they are out of stock. So we're sort of at a stalemate with that. But we will see how that goes. I am pretty hesitant to spend more money. I spent a lot of monies yesterday. I'm going to a wedding soon, and as an iconic transformer, I got a dress and a bunch of stuff that I need to make sure works perfectly alright and dandy for the occasion. That's right, if anyone did not know, your dearest Candy Eggs is indeed a trans girl. And if there weren't a bunch of people home, I would be doing a lot more femme of a voice, but we're just gonna cope with the Candy Eggs depression Maya tutorial sounding voice. Or not Autodesk Maya tutorial, that's too old. The stereotype I'm going for is when you look up on YouTube tutorials for a lot of art programs. What is it called? Blender. Oh my gosh. Especially Blender, like a lot of tutorials are really good, but the poor person giving you the instruction just sounds so depressed. Which is something I can't really complain about, because that's kind of what I sound like right now. Jack has entered, breaking through ceiling and breaking bones. Hi. Hello, Jack. Hello. How are you doing? We are working on some Fakemon. We are drawing some gummy little legs. This looks a little too thin here. This looks kind of like those gloves from Glove World and SpongeBob. That's what it's reminded me of right now. Let's expand this line a little bit. Yeah, it's fine. You know what? I like that imperfection. No, I don't. Go away. There we go. There we go. If I let myself focus too much on the eccentricities of the line work, I will never finish this drawing. Ew, I don't know how I like that. Yeah, it's better this way. Mimikmon. Hello! We actually have a Pokemon profile picture. Wowza, we got a Mimikyu. Iconic. We are currently working on a Fakemon based on a... You know what, I should call this the running nose Pokemon because it has legs. That's funny. So Pokemon have like a... I don't remember what it's called. They have like an actual name and then they have like a designation. Like Pikachu is the electric mouse Pokemon. The running nose Pokemon would be a cute little bit. But this is Snottot. It is based on the rhinovirus, and also a Snotite, which is a type of cave formation. Kind of reminds you of a Yoshi's Island character. Iconic. I have never played Yoshi's Island, but I sure have played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and that is a great one. Capture Gaming, do we have Sucklet from item label? We do not. Sparesy has been thinking of it. They are like weirdly expensive. I'm sure they just have like a really nice fabric, but he has been greatly debating whether or not he needs Sucklet recently. Let's buff out this limb so it looks more equal. Or I guess this is more of a pseudopod, if we want to bring our exobiology words into this silly little Pokemon thing. Ooh, I'm just going to call you Mimikyu. That's a good idea, the nose glove Pokemon. Iconic, so it does look like a glove. Reminds me of Pyukumuku. We love Pyukumuku. In color, this will make a lot more sense. I need to bend this hand up. There we go. There we go. Now it's a little prancing little guy. So this is a Pokemon that is going to be spawning in caves. And we might be getting far enough to do like the lore and stuff. I'm not too sure, but we can hope. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the line work for all of our things before moving on to color or anything, just because I like to work with color in a very honestly haphazard way. It kind of looks like a squid. That's interesting. But in this second stage, you can tell that it is indeed a Rhinoceros, which, by the way, Rhinoceros. Infamous Candy Egg's technically correct pronunciations. Oh, Jack is going now. See you around, bud. Federico says, upgrade. Boo-doo-doo-doo. Boom, boom, boom. This one dances even better. Look at that. Look at those jazz hands. Whoa. Alright, let's invisify that. Or not invisify. Opacify that. Now let's go ahead and start working on this. How is our line thickness? That is a little too thick. Let's go with the 15 on this bad boy. Actually, let me look back over here. Yeah, the 15's good. Let's start drawing on its head. Normally I would be taking like 8 times as long to do the line art, but I am just committing to the scraggly line art because I waste way too much time trying to make line art look perfect. And if working on my comic Tantum's Construct has taught me anything, is that no one will notice the scraggliness. Insert weird nose noises that would be this Pokemon's cry. That is an excellent question. I used to make like cries, but I am not an audio engineer, and a lot of it sounded really cringe. But what would this Pokemon sound like? Would it sound like a sneeze? Would it sound like a sniffle? Would it sound like just a sludge noise? Huh. That is an excellent question. Da-da-da. Nose supremacy. The nose. Oh yeah, get sniffed. I have a very special nose, and that I can't breathe properly. I don't remember what it's called, but my nose inside is so asymmetrical that I can barely breathe out of one side of my nose. And that is partly why my voice sounds like this, and partially why I sniff so much. One of the worst parts about making the exobiology videos, though, is having to get rid of every, like, gross mouth noise that I make, and every single sniff. I do it not on purpose. It is subconscious. And holy crap. That is the part that takes the longest, honestly, in the exobiology project, is editing the audio so that it doesn't sound awful. Yeah, it's looking cute. This does look a lot like an octopus. It also kind of looks like the rhinos from Babar. Yeah, deep cut reference. Does anybody remember Babar? I didn't realize, not to keep like switching which one of my art projects I'm talking about, but my dinosaur comic is influenced by Babar to such a huge degree that I didn't even realize until I remembered Babar existed, and I was like, I want to watch an episode of Babar. So then I did, because it's on YouTube for free, and I was like, holy crap, this is just like what my comic is like. Except my comic is dinosaurs. Just that like inexplicable ability to where they are like animals on 4 legs, but then they can just stand up and hold objects. Hilarious. It sounds like the loudest sneeze ever. Ah! Oh, that'd be cute if like Snottot was like a little baby sneeze, and then this one's a bigger sneeze, and then this one sounds like a grandpa sneeze, an absolute jump scare. Squidward would 100% have this Pokemon. Look at the Pokemon. I can vaguely do SpongeBob's voice. Does everybody want to hear that? It is incredibly loud and quite obnoxious, but I can do like the SpongeBob Tom Kenny laugh. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. Everybody, close your ears. Yeah. Wow. we get a little silly here. We get a little silly. I need to fix the eyes. I drew them a bit too vertical here, but it's easier to correct in digital. Just need to remember it. I was drawing these last night and this morning, which is why they are so fresh in my mind. This eye needs to move a little bit. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, let's by that. Something is off. Okay, so this eye needs to be taller. That seems fine. Alrighty. There's also another thing this thing is based on. It's like, have y'all ever noticed that art trend where old people, especially older men, will have like big bulbous red or orange or purple noses? That is like a disease. And it's just very common in people with, what was it? I think it was blood pressure issues, like high blood pressure. I don't remember. But it's also based on that. So, like, the nose is going to start with a much more fleshy tone. I don't know what color of flesh tone it should be. It lives in a cave. Be darker red. Message retracted. I wonder what. Probably what completely regular word just got censored for that message. Wonder how humans would react to this Pokemon. Human looks at it and goes, "Oh dear God," and then gets absolutely shoved up the nose, like one of those weird commercials where it's. What am I even thinking? Was that even a real commercial, or did like my child brain make it up? I'm remembering like a commercial where a giant cartoon 3D animated nose just like puts people up its nostrils in a grotesque, voracious display. I don't even know if that's real. It's just bloody weird. So anyways, this Pokemon's a nose. Oh, that cheek seems too high. Let's try and mirror it. This is the issue when your sketch isn't that, doesn't have that much effort put into it. Let's make it shallower. That seems better. If it's from a cave, extremely pale would make sense. That's true, that's true. Are you going to schedule the next streams? Andrew, unfortunately, I'm not going to. Mostly because my internet is not the most stable, and I just kind of do these randomly. Like, this is nothing more than an excuse to make me work on this project, because otherwise I lose interest very fast. What if the top of it was a tan skin color and the bottom would be red and the shiny would be brown and blue on the bottom? Okay. It's not going to be red on the shiny and make it look like a bloody nose. I was toying around with that idea. With the slime being red or pink or something. It would probably have to be pink because it is like... Well, Zangoose implies the existence of blood. Red should be fine. Imagine it light blue. Okay. Interesting. We'll see when we get to the coloring. Something seems off about those. Oops, something seems off about those eyes. Let me try. That seems better. Maybe it's a little bit too angled. This is what I'm talking about when I spend way too long on the line art, is doing stuff like this. Oops. Let's scooch you over. That is looking pretty good, I think. Sniff, 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 sniff. Is that a horn on the bottom nose part? It is indeed. So the rhinovirus, or the common cold, or like the runny nose sickness, is called the rhinovirus because rhinos, or rhinus, something like that, whatever the root word is supposed to be, means nose. And then rhinoceros, or rhinoceros, however you wish to pronounce it, is named for its nose horn. Rhinoceros means nose horn. And because people shorten rhinoceros to rhino, it's sort of just a pun that it's like the rhinovirus. That's me over-explaining very greatly. I love Pokemon. Actually, I should probably let everyone know about my history with Pokemon. So, when I got into Pokemon, Generation 4 was new. That being Diamond and Pearl. And in elementary school, my teacher had a little personal library that kids could borrow books from, because that way there weren't any like late fees or anything if you just forgot to check out the book. And a lot of kids really liked that. And one of those was a Pokedex before Generation 4, and child me, before the domineering presence of the interweb, was out here like, what is this interesting thing with creature designs? And my little child brain started really going, because I like when things clearly go together. You know, like Pokemon, it has a unified art style, but everything does look different and you can categorize things so much. And I thought as a kid that was awesome. So the first Pokemon I ever knew of was that by being a Pokemon was Turtwig, because it was on the cover of this Pokedex. Now I should clarify, well, Turtwig became my favorite Pokemon because it's a turtle and I liked turtles as a kid. But I should clarify, this was not actually my first experience with Pokemon. This was my first experience knowing what Pokemon was. So a couple years before I checked out this Pokedex, saw a bunch of Pokemon. I really liked Gastrodon and Turtwig and, what else was it? Oh yeah, I really liked Bastiodon because it was a dinosaur. And before that, my sister was watching TV, or rather, I was watching TV, and my sister walked up. I just turned it on randomly, and it was playing the Pokemon. In retrospect, I know this now. It was playing Pokemon Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, and it was the scene where Regirock flips a car and makes those interesting noises, and Kid Me was just staring blankly like, what is this? This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then my older sister just walked up and changed the channel, and I was like, okay, and then I walked away. Or wait, no, she didn't just randomly change it. She went like, I've seen this before, and then changed the channel. So my sister knew of Pokemon before I did, and now she's obsessed with Pokemon Go, way after my brother and I had been into Pokemon, which is rather hilarious. But get this, I kid you not, there was one earlier bit of Pokemon which I experienced as a kid, and I didn't even put this together until a couple years ago, because I randomly remembered it and I was like, oh my god, that was Pokemon. So, back in the day, I had like one friend in elementary school and he was sick this day. So I was just sort of sitting there in the playground alone, you know, as one does. Do I like that? Do I like that touching? I don't think I do. I was alone at the playground and this older kid was like, hey, do you want to come play with us? And I was like, okay, what are you doing? And like, we're playing cards. And then I was like, oh, I don't know how to play cards. And then they started distributing them amongst themselves, because kids don't know how to play Pokemon cards, right? Nobody does. And they started distributing them, and then I was like, what are these? And they were like, they probably just told me it was Pokemon, but I didn't remember as a kid because I didn't know what that meant. But one of the main kids was like, here, you can be this one. And then he handed me a card, and he was like, oh, but you just be sure to give it back before the end of recess. And I was like, okay, sure thing. And you know what it was? It was a card of Combusken. And I know this because he described it like, it's like a fire chicken. I was like, that's pretty cool. And it was a card of Combusken. So technically, of all the Pokemon in the world, Pikachu, not the first Pokemon I saw. Turtwig, not the first Pokemon I saw. The first Pokemon I saw was Combusken. And that is hilarious. After a long while, I was looking at that Pokedex from my teacher, and I was reading the heck out of it. I was like, this is actually really cool. I like that it's like a monster thing. It tells you about all these different monster creatures. And then one of my friend's younger brothers was like, oh, you know Pokemon? That's cool. I like to play that all the time. And I'm like, play Pokemon? I didn't realize it was a video game. I thought it was a cool book. So he let me borrow... No, that was later. I went to Blockbuster with my mother, and then we rented Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. And thank goodness there was not already a save file on there, because if there was, I would have just played their save file and not known what was going on. But I played a rented copy of Diamond and Pearl. I picked Turtwig, and then I got stuck I got stuck in the game because I didn't know what a gym was, and I was in that first city with the clowns, and it was like, okay, well, this area, you need a gym badge to go into this area. And I was like, well, clearly, this is the area I'm supposed to go next, which I just assumed for no reason. So I was so bad at exploring, and I didn't know what to do with the clowns. So I was like, the last clown just has to be in there. But I don't know what a gym is, and that's the area where you connect online. So it said I needed a gym badge to connect online, and I just didn't get it. Which is funny, so I had to return that to Blockbuster, and then later that friend's younger brother let me borrow his Diamond and Pearl and let me reset it. He showed me how to reset it. And I played it for a good amount, and eventually Generation 5 came out. He showed me how to transfer some of my Pokemon. Some of my Pokemon stayed in there, and it was his game, so I had to return it to him because they all had HMs. So I have like one Pokemon from that original save file being a Pachirisu. That was my very long story. I have noticed that there's some comments, so let me go ahead and read those. Mimikyu says, I sketch my own Fakemon in my notebook. Heck yeah. And I have a grass starter that's a sloth Pokemon called Slazy, the grass sloth Pokemon. Iconic. Sleepathy, I'm pretty sure. The dozing Pokemon, iconic. Groundozy, the ground sloth Pokemon. That is very iconic. I'm guessing you designed it based on the things sloths do where they have like moss in their fur. That is iconic. We love sloths. Ooh, we got a new person. We got Presby saying hiya. Hello, Presby. You've got a picture of a bird, some sort of bird, looking like it might be a heron. We love birds here. Kandy Eggs is a bird zone, that's for sure. Actually, for this Fakemon project, the original idea that I was going for is that I wanted to make like a, oh gosh, I'm stupid. What is it called? I wanted to make like a New Zealand Pokemon region. And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if every one of the starters was a bird and like most of the Pokemon in the region were birds? That fell through, but you do see that in my starter Pokemon, one of them still is a bird, and one of them is still water flying. So, it kind of still is bird dominated. And some of the other Pokemon, like, this one, Araviator, are still remnants of my old idea where it's like, I'm going to make like every Pokemon in this region a bird. And then I decided not to. Because I got way more into this than I thought I would. Also, these starters have a theme going on. Let's see if anybody can guess that theme real quick. I'll go ahead and go over them again. Federico says chicken in all caps. In fact, let me show off. I do have a more chickeny chicken. Actually, let me look at it in here. How do I look at it? Come on. No, I know it was in Baker's Hill. Oven chicken. Alright, here we go. So here's the baby chicken. Of hen is a little pastry. Isn't that adorable? And then it evolves into cookin'. And this was, I shit you not, the second Fakemon I designed for this project when I was like still in high school. And it's just such a funny design to me. It's an egg timer with oven mitts, and it is an oven, and it's got a chef's hat. Oh, it is wonderful. Anyways, if I get really tired of drawing, I might just go on the Instagram for this project and talk about the designs, because that is always fun. But for now, we are looking good on Boogiemon. Actually, let me widen this. Boogiemon is such a funny name, by the way. It sounds like a Digimon. Chicken. Thank you very much, Federico. Okay, now I do need to edit this because I did not scale it particularly well. Da-da-da. That is looking much more in line with what we are talking about. Now let's move up this part a little bit as well. That is looking much more in line with what we've got going on over here. Yes, now let's go ahead and move the shoulders down a bit. That's right, I'm going to call those shoulders. Scooch you down as well. There we go. Sometimes it's just a lot easier to edit things digitally. The first Pokemon Mimikyu saw was probably Caterpie. Oh, that's interesting. Was it from the Pokemon anime? Federico says, from nose to castle. Nose castle. Iconic. I did sort of design it to look like a building. I designed this so long ago that I don't even remember what was going on in my brain other than look at it dance. Absolutely getting jiggy with it. Alright, let me reduce that opacity, start working on our line work. How is the line thickness looking? Let's go a little thinner than that. Should we try 10? That is a little too thin. Let's try 12. Now let's go back up to 15. Yeah, let's just hold the pen lighter. That's good, that's good. I like that. So, let's get into it. I was originally going to be playing music, but I was afraid to get copyrighted. It was either going to be like random Pokemon music, or it was going to be music from Homestuck. As everyone knows, Candy Eggs loves Homestuck. I've got another tertiary, I guess, project that is a Homestuck fanfiction functionally on MSPFA. This makes no sense to anyone who doesn't know what Homestuck is, but it's an entire website for fanfictions regarding Homestuck. Yeah. Andrew has a big comment. In the last stream, you asked about the herbivory to carnivory transition in the cover crawlers, and you meant in episode 4, and wasn't sure if you mixed it up, but ooh, you see, my brain is a constant stream of not paying attention. I vaguely remember talking about that, but in episode 4, there are carnivorous cover crawlers planned. In fact, they look really, really weird, and I'm not sure if I want them to be canonized. I don't have any pictures digitally, so I can't show y'all now. But the reason that I'm streaming Pokemon instead of the Exobiology project is just because I keep staring at their designs and being unconfident that I actually want to go that route. I'm just not sure. They look really hilariously weird. I'll just like vaguely describe them. They're like arthropodoid, and they have 8 limbs, and then each limb has a face on it that looks like a flatworm, and so it's sort of like 8 flatworms stuck to a circle, and it looks kind of really stupid, and I'm just not sure how real it feels. I might go back to the drawing board and fix some of them, but there are carnivorous cover crawlers that exist in the brain. Mimikyu made a Pokemon based off raccoons, and there's a stereotype of being, and they're, based on, do I have dyslexia? And I made a Pokemon based off raccoons, and their stereotype of being theirs, and I turned into a fire starter called Rancid. Fire Raccoon Pokemon. Raccoon. Okay. Okay, so you've got a sloth and a raccoon. Interesting. I'm starting to sense a foresty theme. Oh yeah, Andrew Fong wanted to know about the transition from herbivory to carnivory. Okay. I am remembering more of this now. I don't remember what I said initially, but basically the logic of things being able to switch from herbivory to carnivory and vice versa very easily in Lapis right now is because most of the animalogs are basically made of slime and mostly water. So like the difference between a meat and a plant is that a plant is like really rubbery and has cell walls and is just like really difficult to digest, whereas the other thing has almost no nutrients except it is very easy to digest. So it's sort of like everything is kind of like a jellyfish right now, where it's barely made of anything. Well, I say that, but like the fin worms and stuff, but yeah, it should be buffed up. It is difficult for me to focus on talking and drawing at the same time. I'm getting better at it though. Ooh, I don't know if I like that angle. Yeah, that's a bad angle. That's a bad angle. There we go. Oh, on raccoons being thieves. I see. That is fun. Do you post your Fakemon project anywhere, Mimikyo? But yeah, for the Aliens project, meat in general is easier to digest than plant type devices. There's something wrong with this angle. That seems wrong. Meat is easier to digest than plant type things because plants like just really don't want to be eaten. But on Lapis, not a lot of things have the same precautions that earth plants do yet. Like things like grasses have functionally have glass in them, and it exists like that to wear down the teeth of animals eating them. And then things like um what are they called? Ruminants might be more general term than that, but they only have teeth on their lower jaw so that they don't have to snip the grass so that they aren't wearing down their incisors as much. Whereas things like horses and rabbits, they do have to wear down their incisors to eat grass. And that's interesting. Things like sheep and cows, for context, they do not have incisors on the roofs of their mouths because they just use their incisors on their lower jaw and like clamp it against a pad on the roof of their mouth. And they use that to tear the grass so that they don't have to deal with the silica in the grass with their incisors. They still have to chew it with their molars, so that is still an issue for them, but it's just neat that they sort of almost circumvent one of the plant issues. Federico is singing in the chat. Iconic. I fear... No, that looks right, right? I think so. I'm trying rather hard to not lose the design. Or not lose the structure of the design, because the structure, this is a very geometric thing. Actually, that was too thin. I hate drawing geometric things, but y'all will see if you follow enough of my projects. I draw so many geometric things and so many patterns. I hate drawing them, but it looks so interesting. I'm not sure how much I like that, but we are going to keep it for now. Let's go ahead and draw the horn on top. Oh yeah, let me consciously fix my posture real quick. I have a lot of issues with my shoulders because I've like historically never stood correctly, and that absolutely extends to sitting sitting posture being incredulously poor. Is incredulous a word? It sounds like it is. In the meantime, let's continue. Gotta make sure that this is on the same... Yeah, it's parallel. I didn't like that very much. Oh, Candy Eggs is focusing too much on the silly lines. So let's go ahead. Let's start with the eyes. This gentle bowing is very iconic on the outside of the eye. And then we got like the Sanic mono eye. Do, 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 do. Actually, it looks less like Sonic and more like Cars from the movie Cars. It does look like Cars. Ooh, and Mimikyu has explained their water type starter now. And just to finish the thing, you made a water starters Splake. Sea snake Pokemon. Ooh, Sneakule. Cool snake. Snakeen. Keen eye Pokemon. And you don't post them, you just draw them for fun in a notebook. I see, I see. That is always fun to do. As a kid, I used to do that all the time. And this project that I post on Instagram is really just like a resurgence of doing that again, except with a different aspect of Pokemon that I really appreciate, being the competitive or semi-competitive play. So that is always a great creative output. And the theme is negativity. Okay. Laziness, thievery, and pollution. That is interesting. I like that. I like theming. I love theming, Charlie. Andrew, you knew about the cell wall stuff and that plants are harder to digest. You want to know other stuff, and what you told me was cool. Well, the cover crawlers do have jaws already, and they evolved them to cope with the rubberiness of Xanthophols. So they sort of like chop it up. But what we end up seeing, at least according to the current plan, what we end up seeing with some of the cover crawlers in the future is, it was kind of looking to the side. I don't know if I like that. Let me, hold on, pause that thought. Let me see what it looks like with much more forward eyes. Move it over a little bit. I think that's the best. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay. So cover crawlers have a jaw that they use for herbivory. And because they need to like scrape off and chop off these parts of plants, they suddenly find themselves having very powerful tools for absolutely destroying other mobile organisms, which are typically very soft in the planet so far. So because they are so incredibly slow, that is going to cause them some issues, but they are basically going to turn into the equivalent of like a what are they called? Cone snails, where they can barely see. They are very scent-oriented creatures, but once they actually get their grubby mitts on something, they are dispatching it very quickly. And in the case of cover crawlers, they are essentially going to grab things with their tentacles. Or I guess they're more of arms at that point, but they're going to grab things and then just draw them into one of their jaws, or just mash it into all their jaws and just start biting at it. Whether or not they die immediately is not a very important part of the process to the cover crawler. It simply puts things in its mouth. And because animal type devices are so much more energy dense than things like plants, it will greatly reward them seeking things like that out. Even though they may be slow, they are definitely smelling everywhere they go. Mr. Blue Bunny bringing out the iconic nostalgia pull with a brave little toaster. Okay. Ooh, actually. Kind of looks like the vacuum, doesn't it? Okay, now let's prove this. This is iconic. Oh, look at this iconic advertisement. Lol. Okay. Brave little toaster vacuum. Oh, no, it doesn't really look like the vacuum. What? Ooh. Does it look like the air conditioner? The air conditioner that commits on a live in front of the camera. No, it doesn't. I see the vibe, but I don't know exactly where it's coming from. I thought it was the eyes. Okay. Oh, the vacuum's name is Kirby. I used to love that movie so much. It is such a strange movie. The brave little toaster. I like these little like Gen 1 tick marks are fun for showing the edge. I think I'm gonna go on that route instead of the line on the front. Actually, what if we do it on here too? Actually, let's go ahead like this. No, I didn't like that. Let's try that again. Alright, let's scrape some out. And then let's go ahead and get rid of some more unnecessary ones. Let's just draw the lines normally. And then and then scrape it on that way. Scrape, 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 scrape. There's how a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon there. They are rendered. You know what? That is pretty cool. I like that. I like that. MiniQ says, just to say, because you have nothing else to say, your Route 1 rodent is Banask, Mask Switch Pokemon. Okay. Emaskin, Depression Pokemon. Relatable. They're based on rabbits, floppy ears, and comedy and tragedy math. Ooh, that's interesting. I love, one of the best parts about Fakemon designs is that everyone just comes up with such different things from the exact same prompts. It's very fun. Very fun. Okay, well, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. And then for this sharper edge, I will actually go ahead and draw it. Okay, we are getting somewhere. I don't think this creature has much of a brain. Oh gosh. Go away. Adobe Acrobat jump scare. Holy stuff. You know what? I'm going to get a little bit more done on this, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and open up the project on Instagram and start going through it a little bit, just as like a little tour, so that I don't get too bored with this. I think that would be a good idea. Just every couple minutes, go ahead and look at a Fakemon. That feels like a fun idea. Alright. Because at the very least, I want to get the flat colors on these bad boys done. Don't know how far we'll get. Yeah, it's fine. You know what? After I finish the shell, let's go ahead and start looking. I'll probably have to turn off the screen for a minute, though. Not gonna lie. Or actually, no, I don't, because I don't have to be... Okay, you know what? We are fine. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the screen for a minute, everybody. Don't worry, this is going to come back. This is going to come back. Oh, look, my little creature's still here. Everything's fine. I just want to make sure that nobody can log into my stuff. So, explore Kitty Eggs Pokemon. Meow. Scroll, 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 scroll. Shh, nobody can see anything. Nobody can see anything. It doesn't exist. Nothing exists right now. Existence does not mean anything. We are in the void. We are in the Pokemon void. We are Pokemon black version. Or right now, Pokemon white version. Authentic. For real, for real. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and fix the proportions of the stuff on my screen, and then we will be back to seeing everything fine and dandy-like. Hyperdust Sands, level 99, experience 99. Iconic name. Hello, how are you doing? Don't worry, the screen is intended to be black at the moment. Mimicmon also says, also the same reason as previous route. One mon, my route on one bird is Cheagle. Eagle chick Pokemon. Jeteagle. Jeteagle. Icon, the Jetwing Pokemon. That is... I love the I still don't know what they're called. The categories the Pokemon are. Like the Jetwing Pokemon is very nice. Ooh, Falcarius is back. Hello, hello, Falcarius. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring our display capture back. Now let's go ahead. We're taking a break to look at some Fakemon for a second. Hold on, this, there we go. We can see the chat again. Meow. Alright, well, here's Kandy Egg's Pokemon number 1. This is such a bad drawing, I should have redone it. This is very old, so we are all gonna cope with this, but this is the Grass-type starter, Squad Baby. Multiple people have independently come up with this name because it's such a good name. A baby dove is called a Squab. It is the Blank Stare Pokemon. We're going to skip over the noises it makes and read its little dex entry. Their trainers often have a difficult time knowing if they are paying attention or not, as the blank looks on their faces do not change. They permanently remember people who give them fruit. They love fruit so much that they will try to swallow anything colorful, not limited to their own Pokeballs, so beware. As we can all see, Kandy Eggs' literary skills have increased tenfold since writing this pile of crap. I still love Squaw Baby, though. There's its little size. Here's some moves it gets. I did not really understand how movesets worked at this time, so it's not the best, but then the concept art is drawn a lot better than the base form. You know what, let's go ahead and look at the evolution. Let's go through each evolutionary stage on each break. Now we are up to Fukuku, the Arrogance Pokemon. By the way, Oblivious is the hidden ability, which is a very fun ability to use. I really like how the wings turn into hands here. Like the bends and the feathers are very funny to me. It is based on a fruit dove, by the way, if anyone couldn't tell. Now, studies show that they're very closely related to the P-Dove line, although they think themselves vastly superior, to the point of demanding to be treated as people. That's fun. I remember writing these as though it's like, ooh, how do I pick which one that I want? Which one fits my personality the best? And these are silly little guys. They keep their feathers smooth and in pristine condition. They keep their feathers smooth and pristine condition. That's just written wrong. They often fix the two above their fruit-like wattle to keep it looking its best. So there it is. It's like a tie, right? It keeps fixing it. Then it's, ooh, it's a lot bigger. Ooh. Then there we go. Little hand. And for the last one on our break, let's look at Perugedent, the final evolved grass starter Pokemon. It is Grass and Psychic. Oh, yeah, I like this one. It was meant to look like a turkey and a dodo, Rufus. And I think it's a pretty good balance between them. They trick other Pokemon into gathering food for them through natural leadership and mind control, while taking the most for themselves without doing any of the hard work. They're very stubborn and don't like to listen to authority. They occasionally ignore their trainer's orders, thinking that they know better. That's fun. I like that. Like, this is like a troublesome grass-type Pokemon, whereas normally the grass starter is like the easy route, and then the fire one is always the most hard. I thought it would be fun if the grass one is actually, like, incredibly frustrating to deal with. Alrighty. Well, that was the grass-type starter. Let's go ahead and get back to working on our art and reading up on these comments. So, Andrew says, it'd be cool if some exotheres had non-Newtonian slime in their skin, like the heterotheres in Chimere. Ooh, Chimere sounds familiar. What project was that? Andrew, if you're still here, what project is Chimere? Because that sounds familiar, but I can't put my finger on which project that is. I know I've heard it before. Mimikyu says, you route one bug? Yes, bug types. Bug is my favorite type. Stinkrub. Puking grub Pokemon. Stinkoon. That's a fun name. I love the name Stinkoon. Waste Pokemon and Stinkooke. Stinkook. Stinkkook. Oh, probably Stinkkook. Stinkrub is just a bug, while the others are poison bug, like Weedle. Very iconic. Poison bug is a wonderful dual typing. Ooh, Chickadee Stevenson is back for another round. Hello, hello. I hope you're doing well, if I remember correctly, Canadian friend. Andrew says it's on YouTube. Okay, Chimere. Let me... No, I'm not gonna... I need to get back to working. I'm gonna make a note of that on my phone so that I can look at that later, because I know that I've seen that before. Chimere Pterosaur. Oh, I've seen them on Instagram before. I should take a closer look to that. I've seen them on Instagram, and I haven't really looked into the project that much. Alright. So this is a deep line, so I need to put that, or I need to emphasize that. This line, we need to direct it forward a little bit. There we go. We are being optimal today. Pokemon. Ooh, Chickadee Stevenson made the fan cover crawler. That is fantastic. One of these days I'm going to find out how to get that. If I remember correctly, you have a Tumblr. I need to be getting to making a Tumblr. I have an anonymous Tumblr because I read Homestuck, so of course I do. But I don't have a public one. When I do get to making that, I will definitely let you know so that I can see your wonderful drawing. Ooh, this angle is not looking good. Okay, we kind of scuffed that when moving around the pieces. Mimikyu has another Route 1 bug. Heck yeah. Longaiter, child bug Pokemon. A spider parent... Wait. Bug Pokemon, spider parent Pokemon. Oh, so is it like Miss Spider from Miss Spider's whatever? That'd be adorable. It's called a carpet crawler. Interesting. I am excited to hear about this carpet crawler. Sorry for the silence. Ooh, this line. These lines. Why do I draw geometrically? Why? That's pretty good. Then I need this line right here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's thin that out. Thin this one out. Then there. You see, if you don't actually make the lines straight, nobody can tell when you bend them a little bit. Andrew, it's about prehistoric life that now extinct and still alive and evolve on a different planet. Okay. That's interesting. That's for the Chimere project, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. I just realized I have read it before. I've never actually heard how it is meant to be said. Ooh, I need to move this up a little bit, this little epaulette type device. Ooh, Ben. Hello, Ben. How are you? Welcome to the iconic Candy Egg stream. We are working on some Fakemon. And I have actually just started a little thing where every couple minutes I go ahead and go back to the Fakemon Project's homepage on Instagram and take a look at a couple Fakemon in the decks. We are actually just about to taking another look, this time at the Fire type starter. Chickadee, ooh, we got the carpet crawler. They have a symbiosis with that rhizome thingy. Ooh, getting the picture up. Okay, I like it. I haven't really touched on symbiosis yet, so that is sure to be interesting. I was actually going to touch on symbiosis in the last episode, but I decided to change my route. There was going to be a thing that lived inside of Lepiscus. I decided not to. Ben says, sounds cool. You sound cool. Absolutely wrecked. For anyone who has been following more recently, we have the baby one, Snot Tot. Evolves into Boogeyman. Woo! Boogie! And then Rhino Slima. These are based on the concept of the rhinovirus, but also that of a snotite, a type of cave structure, I suppose you would call it. I've sort of been changing what I even call snotites. I don't know what they're like formally referred to as. They are found in caves. Yeah. You know what? That's pretty good. Looking. I think I found what has been irking me with this. That being that this is a little bit too high up. There we go. This is what has been looking odd. Chickadee, the plant grows on them. Okay, hiding them from predators. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Got that classic iconic Torterra going on. That always reminds me of the first time I saw an alien design like that was in Wayne Barlow's Expedition when it got turned into like a documentary. Whatever that was called. Love that documentary. It at least was free on YouTube. What is it called? Darwin 4? Darwin Expedition? Something like that. It is fantastic. Ben, rhinovirus or rhinovirus. It is the rhinovirus, also known as the nose cold, head cold, whatever it's called, the sniffles, etc., etc. It vaguely looks like a rhinoceros in true Pokemon pun fashion. Chickadee back with a carpet crawler. Oh, I see why it's called a carpet crawler now, because it's made of carpet. And they move around in shallow areas, giving their plant buddies access to light while eating plants below them. I like that. I like that. Ooh, Chickadee also has a fan Pokemon region. We got a lot of shared interests over here. It's a giant prehistoric Lapras. Ooh, that's an island called Terramara. Terramara. One of those two. I like that idea. That is a very fun way to go about a region. It's just the whole region is literally alive. That is fun. Okay, you know what else is that this angle is off? That I just noticed that. Heck yeah. We are solving what is wrong with the picture by staring at it. This is the way. Remember a good while ago when I said that I spend way too much time on the line art because I get too focused on it? This is what I mean. Ooh, Mimikyu is talking about some more Fakemon. Another Route 1 bird named Turkey. Ooh, the key bird. Master Key. Okay, I have to applaud Master Key. That is a hilarious name. Gotta love that. That is wonderful. I have come up with some clever Fakemon names, but Master Key is something else. Love it. Let's move this line over a bit. It looks a little too bent Yes, we are fixing it. Terramara's starting bird is based on the Canada Goose. Iconic. Of course, the Canada Goose is flying dark type. That is wonderful. It's Latin. It means land of sea. Ooh. Mara is soft pronounced. You had it right in the first go. So it is Mara. Okay. Heck yeah. The Goose Route 1's line is... I'm pretty sure that says Goose. Yeah. We are on it. Shoo, 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 shoo. And then this sort of merges into the main body. Main body line, yeah. Like, that was too thin. Like this implication where it like smooths itself out. Let's double check that. Yeah, that's fine. That's looking good. Because sort of this plane is an angle to this plane, but then it sort of smooths itself out, which would be very hard to 3D model. But that is not a concern to me. Ruffling, Fledang, and Thuggoose. Okay, Thuggoose is a beautiful name as well. Not only is it a thug goose, but it's like, it sort of sounds like you're saying the goose, which is an iconic, fearful name. Okay, you know what? After this horn, let's go ahead and take a peek at the next Pokemon from my little region. I probably should have told everyone what it was called and stuff. We'll get to that in just a moment. We're all sharing information. The last Route 1 Mon? Skoward? Oh, Squared. Squirrel scared. Squared. Yeah. It has a pattern on its tail that looks like a head. Ooh, that's fun. Switcherl. The switcheroo Pokemon. I love switcheroo as a move. Its head is now the tail. Ooh, that's interesting. Fledang. Fledang. Yes, Fledang. I am very bad at reading how to pronounce things. It's just the way. Ruffling is a tiny rough puffball full of anger, as it should be. Alright, friends, we are reaching the next thing in... Yes, that was pretty smooth. Let's go ahead and take a look at some more Pokemon. By the way, this region is called Petrift. It has a drawing somewhere. Oh god, this drawing is so bad. Okay, we're just going to pretend this is a better drawing than it is. It's a crater. Yeah. It is a crater, and we start up here. Wow. So, we looked at Squababy's line. Now let's go ahead and look at Novith. Novith is a black bear. It is also the fire-type starter. Whoa, the novice Pokemon. Though most of their fur is wiry, the white around their necks is curly, dense, and soft. Their orange patches exude heat and make Novith great cuddle buddies on cold days. That's precious. They use their sharp claws to climb trees for better vantage points and to reach berries. They will treat their trainers the same way. That's fun. Like I said with the Squababy, I wanted to give like an idea of what it would be like to actually take care of them, and that's fun. It just inconveniently climbs onto your head to try and look around. Once again, my art skills, my graphic design skills, and especially my writing skills have improved a lot since now, so I am cringing quite a bit. It is the biggest of our 3 starters. Wow. Look at that little guy. I remember I redesigned Novith very last second, so it has a much more solid design than a lot of other ones. Now we move on to Welgidor, which to this day I regret designing like this because it looks way too much like Bidoof for some reason. All right, darker portions of their fur have matted and hardened. The orange fur on their faces and sides sizzle when they prepare fire moves. In the absence of a Mastorge, that's the final evolution. By the way, this is Welgitor. I don't think I said that. The apprentice Pokemon. In the absence of a Mastorge to learn from, they will mimic and copy any and all strong Pokemon and people around them. This makes their battle style very impressionable, which I thought would be just a fun idea. Like, this Pokemon really molds onto its trainer. And there we go. It looks too much like Barrel or Bidoof. Donut. Alright, so that was Welgitor. Now let's look at Mastorge, the blacksmith Pokemon Fire Steel. I like this design. It is an anvil, it is a furnace, it is a honey wand, it is a, whatever those pot things that you put molten metal in. It's fun. Flames and sparks fly from their necks when angered, engulfing their faces in a furious blaze. They are normally very gentle and loving, however, normally very gentle and loving, however, especially towards children. Though they act stoic and intimidating, they will openly invite people and Pokemon to warm up in their caves during rain and snow. So that's fun. Like, it looks scary, but it's actually the nicest one of the starters. And then there we have it. Its arms are a little too long, and it's not quite stylized in the way that Pokemon is. If I ever go back and redraw them, it will look a lot more like regular Pokemon. Okay, that was good break. Before we get to my favorite one, let's go ahead and start drawing again and read up on these comments. Mimikyu, the Boxantis, Boxglove Pokemon. Okay, so we're looking at Peacock Shrimp, I think. Jubantis. Iconic. Chickadee, there's also a dragon water type based on the sarcastic fringe head. I don't know what that is. It sounds like a fish, or perhaps a little bit of cheeky mythology. Fafnirius, ha 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 ha, I did it that time, as a Miss Fafnir, and the clade that the sarcastic fingerhead is in. Okay. The word is crucible. Crucible. Okay, I need to drink some water real quick. The spironolactone flowing through my veins demands infinite water. Heck yeah. Alright. Meow. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Yes, no, yes, yes. Okay. It is a very angry fish. Understandable. Mimikyu. Then there's Humors, hoarding Pokemon, and it has a housing form. Okay, flying dragon. Interesting. Humors, maybe? Humors, probably. Alright, we are nearing completion with Rhino Slima's line art. Ooh, which line should take over? Alright, I'm liking this as a concept. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, let's move these two dots down slightly, a little bit over. That is looking good. Now let's get this over into here, and then it comes back down. We are doing it. Okay. Chickadee, they have mouth? They mouth wrestle. Okay, that makes sense. I think I've seen this fish before. They were on the Blue Planet documentary. That's probably why I knew what they were. Very funny looking. Iconic. There's so many fish to go off of. There's frankly not enough fish Pokemon. And frankly, not enough fish Pokemon are not water types. Then there's the Pika clone, Pika Draco, Dragon Rat Pokemon, Ride Draco, Hydra Rat Pokemon, their Electric Dragon. Iconic Electric Dragon, love it, love it. Get off my lawn, fish, says Chickadee. Terramara also has a bug dragon that's a dragonfly with human teeth. It's very friendly and it smiles a lot. That's fun. For some reason, nobody seems to like it. Everybody's scared of the dragonfly. It's also the size of a toddler. Wonderful. I do actually have a fun fact about dragonflies and Pokemon's refusal to make them bug dragon. That being, the dragonfly is a European name. And dragonflies in Japan are considered, or generally considered, to be sort of like representations of the fertility and yield of rice paddies. And dragonflies existing is meant to represent like the spirit of the rice itself. So that's why Yanma is from Johto, which is like the more traditional Pokemon region, and why it's kind of just a dragonfly is because the presence of the dragonfly itself implies the existence of the rice and everything. And I think that's really cool. But that's also why it is not a dragon type and why it didn't get a mega that's a dragon type, etc., etc. I just think that is neat. If anything, it would be a grass type or a water type. Of course. But, pardon. Of course, that just explains why Yanma. And then Flygon isn't a dragonfly. I know a lot of people think it is. Flygon is a Neuropteran. It is an antlion. I don't know why I'm yawning all of a sudden. But an actual dragon bug Pokemon is always a fun idea that I love to see people try and execute. Mimikyu, just want to say Humord is what I meant to say. Oh, it's a hummingbird. Okay, I see. It's a birdhouse. Fun, fun. Okay, I want to go absolute goblin mode and finish up this line art so that we can start moving on to coloring. And then we can do the flat colors. I'm not going to shade, I don't think, but I could start working. Well, I could shade. I'm debating whether or not to do shading here or to do the sketches with line art, because I like to do line art for the sketches now and do like flat shading, whereas these have very dynamic airbrushed shading. Well, it's not really dynamic as much as it is like just much more effort put in. Mimikyu says, next time I stream, gonna share more of the Fakemon. Iconic. I love to hear it. If you ever miss a stream, don't worry about it. They aren't on any sort of schedule or anything. It's just that if I am bored and I need to work on my art and the internet's doing well, I will occasionally set it up. Giraffeg's psychic because of a pun. Oh my goodness. That is wonderful. We love puns. Also, nobody seems to notice Drompa is based on Puff the Magic Dragon. Okay. Iconic. Puff the Magic Dragon, live by the... That makes sense why the Pokedex specifies that it hangs out around children. That's interesting. One of my sister's favorite Pokemon is Drompa. I still remember when Drompa was revealed, and there was like a fringe number of people like, guys, Dunsparce evolved. They revealed it. Then we get actual Dunsparce, and it's the most perfect design to ever be released from Pokemon. Just Dunsparce again, but longer. And that being that disappointing of a Dunsparce evolution is the most Dunsparce thing in the world it could do. Because, like, back in the day, you're missing, like, one Pokemon from your Pokedex. You're like, it's a does not evolve Pokemon from the beginning of the game. It's very rare, and then you finally get one of your little phone buddies to call you and be like, there's a Dunsparce outbreak in this cave. And you're like, Dunsparce? What is that? That's the thing I'm missing. I've never seen that. And you go and it's like the world a really stupid yokai that's just a fat snake. And it's hilarious. And then they finally make it evolve and it's just the same thing but slightly longer. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Love Dunsparce. What type is this Pokemon and does it have a name and what's it based on? Those are good questions. CMBXP. Welcome back, by the way. So, I am still deciding whether this should be a normal type or a psychic type. Either way, it is going to learn water moves and some flying moves because nose. So what this is I'm going to go back to the baby one. This is the baby. It is Snotot. It is based on a Snotite, which is a type of cave formation, as this part of my Fakemon project takes place in a cave. Isn't that fun? So it is a Snotite, and it is also the concept of the rhinovirus, which is the common cold, essentially, and it also recalls rhinoceroses. So it vaguely looks like a rhinoceros. It's also a nose. It's a runny nose. It's a running nose. It has legs. It runs. Ha ha hee hee ho ho. That is the quick and dirty of it. It's a very odd design when it's not colored because it's really hard to tell what it even is. Mimikyu, there's Poopwall, the two-headed Pokemon Rufio. People who know Homestuck will also laugh at the name Rufio for no reason. Three-headed Pokemon, Rufrio. Dark Fairy, they're based on the experiment making. Oh, no, that sad experiment. Dark Fairy is a good type for that. I like dark types. Fairy types are also fun to design because they're such mischievous little critters. Tinkaton is one of your top faves. Heck yeah, Gremlin Menace creature. It truly represents, like, the fully fledged concept of fairy Pokemon. Like, when fairies first came out, a lot of people were hesitant. They were just like, what are these, just normal types, but they're pink? But the concept of what a fairy type is really expanded, and I love it. It is just a diabolical specimen. Although, unfortunately, it does mean there are more fairy-type Pokemon than ice-type Pokemon now, which is really unfortunate. I feel like ice types just do not get paid any attention whatsoever. The change to hail into snow was okay, but because ice types, like, functionally don't resist anything, they're still just so bad. And even though they get the defense boost, it's not really helpful. And if anything, it really just kind of like buffs Shedinja. Shedinja, rather. Actually, I didn't like that. Let's cut that up higher. Yeah. Although I appreciate the ice buff, it is like just barely even qualifies for buff. Very unfortunate. Ice should resist water. It really should. Ice should resist water. It should probably resist dragon. Ice just needs a reworking. Also, fairy should be weak to bug. I will never stop saying that. Fairy should be weak to bug. It's such an iconic thing. Why does fairy resist bug? Bug should also resist fairy, if anything. Sad face, bug type iconic moment. Tinkaton is 100% banned in Galar. Loads of Pokemon are banned in Galar after that. Dex cut! I really wish they would just have all the Pokemon again. That was like the best part of Gen 7. I understand why, but also it just makes me sad. Ooh, CMBXP asked, what is my least favorite Pokemon? I have a very clear answer for this. First of all, let's get a couple runner-ups here. Gothita used to be my least favorite Pokemon because it was a game-specific Pokemon alongside Solosis, and I really wanted Solosis. So it was originally my least favorite. Now I just think it's funny. Lucario and Riolu are also some of my least favorite because I have seen too many unfortunate images of that Pokemon, and I really wish I didn't. But my least most favorite Pokemon is Toxel. A lot of people think Toxel is very cute, but I think Toxel looks like something that desiderate people on the internet like to deal with. Candy Eggs isn't out here kink shaming, but also at the same time, it looks like it has a filled diaper, and I hate Toxel. I actually just hate it. I wish it did not exist and Toxtricity just existed by itself. Hot take. That is my least favorite Pokemon, like far and above. My favorite Pokemon is Orbeetle, because I like Orbeetle. Chickadee says Ambipom is your least favorite? No! Not the spider monkey, no! I don't completely remember what it looks like, but we are gonna try. This looks somewhat right. Legs. Whee. Yeah. We get it. Apom was one of my first favorite Pokemon. I love Ambipom. I think it's neat. It is creepy looking though, and that is a lot of why I like it. Mimikyu. Then there's counterpart to the Gimmighoul line. Okay. Caraghoul. And Lavengo. Okay. Fairy Ghost is a fun type. Oh, Mimikyu has to go now. See you around, buddy. Thank you for sharing your Fakemon concepts. They were fun. Love hearing about Fakemon. Heckin' heck. I'm glad that there's a lot of Pokemon stands out here today. Chickadee says it has cow udders on its hands. We're talking about Ambipom. Also 3D Miltank. Why? They jiggle. Why? Why? Iconic. Now, Miltank, I do understand how uncomfortable it is in 3D because of the little dance it does. I think it's kind of funny, though. Although I will say, just like, something about Miltank being, like, small is disturbing. Like, maybe if it was actually the size of a cow, it would be less disturbing. But just the size of it is a little uncomfortable for me. Like, it's so little. It's odd. It is odd. Dance, 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 dance. Okay. So, that looks like Rhino Slima's line art is finally done. These horns might be slightly off. Let me... Wait a minute. This is me trying to sense. Well, let me grab with my fingies. No, it seems... Let me try and move this down a little bit. Then we will look at it again. Oh yeah, that looks better actually. Actually, let's move it down just slightly. Here's something that I've been on to recently. Has anybody seen Kane Pixels and his backroom stuff? Because he made a new one and it was fantastic. I won't spoil any of it, but we love the Kane Pixels content. We truly do. Oops. I bit my tongue a little bit. Unfortunate. Ugh. Ooh, that really hurts. I bit like the back edge of my tongue. Ooh, that is always fun. CMBXP says, with Legends Arceus being the only Pokemon game you've ever beaten, interesting. Your least favorite is Magpie. That's interesting. I remember struggling to find Magpie in that game. Is there any reason you don't like Magpie? Because I love Magmar and Magmortar. Magmortar was on my competitive team in Generation 8 where I like tried the hardest. I had no legendaries, only some of my favorite Pokemon, including two of my most favorite Pokemon, Orbeetle and Dracozolt, and I had a lot of fun with Orbeetle, Dracozolt, and Lickilicky. I had a lot of fun in Generation 8, and I just really haven't gone back to competitive. You hate Paras? Nah, only in Legends, understandable. I do kind of wish in Legends Arceus Paris, it's funny how angry it is, but at the same time, I feel like Paris as a character design would be much more inclined to just like not interact with you. Like I feel like it should just like you go too near it, it sprays everywhere in like an unavoidable arc if it just sees you from far enough away, and then it should like sit still and just let you leave. I really wish they didn't just attack relentlessly. I can move this up a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay, let's go ahead and look at our water type starter for the Petrift region. Available for everybody's free looking on Instagram. Oh, you hate Magby because it has a weird Harkon and has really weird design. Should have only been Magmar and Magmortar. Oh, I love Magby. It looks so stupid. It's just like a demon duck thing that sits in the magma. Okay. My favorite one of my starters that I designed is Shrewiette. It is a water shrew. Isn't that fun? It's got little what are they called? Fin feets. Fin flippers on its hands. It's got these little ears, which you'll see in the other drawing. It can extend out, and then it's got like a diving mask for a face. It's just very cute. Their swimming is fast and maneuverable thanks to their large webbed hands. They sleep on branches above the water, holding on upside down with their tails like a little possum. Their cuteness is only amplified by their dense, soft, and waterproof fur. They have large ears, which normally lie flat against their heads. It's pretty medium size. And there's the example of it doing the little ear thing. It's a very simple design, maybe a little too simple, but I just love how it turned out. It's a stupid little peanut creature. And then Shrewiette evolves into Kawatrol. Yes, indeed, it is a bat. That's iconic. Their hands have become wings, which work equally well in the water and the air. They love to play in the rain, letting a puddle pool in their wings to splash around with. It's because it's an umbrella. You'll see later on. That makes more sense. They can choose whether or not to let water pass through their wings. They can use this ability to catch fish Pokemon with ease. So they basically scoop up something, and then the water falls out of their wing, but the fish doesn't. And then we see it is a cute little umbrella-type creature, and then there's a frame of it swimming. Like an undulating thing. Kawatrol's design is really simple too. Probably too simple as well, but it is cute and I like it. And then we come up with Gyombyoshi. Now I will discuss all three of the starters together in a sec, but Gyombyoshi, the fishing net Pokemon. By the way, Kawatrol, the umbrella Pokemon, Shrewiette, the water shrew Pokemon. So, Gyombyoshi. The nose and ears have fused into a single organ that directs rainwater away from their faces. Their oddly large feet prevent them from sinking in mud and help to capture prey. They are often confused for human fishermen on particularly rainy or misty days. They will wade neck-deep in water, searching for food, once again using their wings to catch fishes. So it is based on a fisherman bat, which is a fun thing in real life. There's its cursed little face, its ears pricked up, its footy toes. I like Gyombyoshi. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at all the starters in context. So, if you had yet to guess the theme, all three of the starters in my silly little Petrift region are based on 3 different professions tied to 3 different levels of income, or finger quotes skilled labor. I put finger quotes because I I think doing certain things are much more difficult than doing other things, i.e., unskilled labor. Being a fisherman takes incredible knowledge and passion and patience and everything. And so Gyombyoshi represents like unskilled finger quotes work. Then you have skilled work, finger quotes. Uh, that's not to say that smithing isn't skilled. You know what I mean? So then we come up with a blacksmith, which is like a much more honorable finger quotes profession. And then we come up with the highest level of profession where we have a silly bird being a politician commentary. So they are each based on basically on like three different levels of I can't think of words right now. Monetary possession and jobs that go with them. Yeah. Fisherman, blacksmith, politician. Whee! I like Gyombyoshi the best because I designed Gyombyoshi to be like the weird one. I designed Mass Torch to be like the popular one, sort of. Like just the run of the mill, like I knew a lot of people would think it was neat. So we have like the one I knew people would think was neat, and then I have the weird one, and then I also have the funny one. And I feel like I succeeded with that. Yeah. I like all three of them. Gyombyoshi is definitely my favorite though. Ooh, we have some comments over here. Minding your own business and suddenly Paris attacks your butt. Real. Gave the guy who asked for a parasect the alpha one optimal, so it took up his whole it took up his whole house. Just the parasect, which isn't even alive, just the mushrooms alive. CMBXP, love Cane Pixels. Heck yeah, Backrooms series, as well as the oldest view, the oldest hugs. That's right. Kandy Eggs does indeed watch Wendigoon also. Heck yeah. I watch so much YouTube. Oh my gosh. I barely have a life. Volcarius, he's so cute. Thank you very much. I love all three of these. Mr. Blue Bunny. Bat. Yes. A shrew into a bat into a man. At least it's not as weird as Octillery. Real. So, actually, ooh, you like the bird the most. Iconic. A lot of people really like these two, but some people I've noticed just love Gyombyoshi because it is weird, which is absolutely what I wanted. Now, Gyombyoshi being the way that it is actually has some validity because bats, chiropterans, are actually very closely related to tree shrews and other like mammal TM devices. And I wanted to design all three of these to be like they are extinct things, because one of the original ideas was there's a lot of extinct Pokemon brought back to life and then they try and restore the environment after this mysterious impact crater. I sort of stopped doing that, but all three of these are basically fossil Pokemon. Like this is a short-faced bear, this is a dodo, and then this is like, well, the whole line represents the evolution of bats. Yeah. It started out as a shrew-type device, then it became like a generic bat, and then it became a very specialized bat, the fisherman bat, which they look really weird. Actually, let's go ahead and look at fisherman bats for a second, because I think they are neat. Look at the creature. It is strange. Look at the gigantic peats. Look at the face. You can see that I kind of turned its mouth into the hood around its face, which is a funny idea. And then the iconic feet. Okay. Actually, real quick, before we get into coloring, now I want to show everyone the regional mammal creature. Since it was supposed to be based on like extinct things, because obviously I like dinosaurs and etc. So, we have the regional mammal type thing, Dashrat, the long jump Pokemon. Very nice abilities, run away and pick up, and then a hidden ability of Wimp Out, because I feel like Wimp Out should be on more Pokemon. These Pokemon are very common to woodland areas and are quick on their feet. Despite their prolific nature, their shyness leaves most encounters with nothing but dust. Yes, Their long noses are good at probing for bug Pokemon in the soil. Hint, hint, there will be bugs. Though it may not look like it, they actually have small vestigial arms. And you can see in this drawing, they have little tiny arms. This is obviously Lectoptidium, yeah, and also things like Sengi, elephant shrews. I like how it turned out. And then we have its evolved form, Probosengi, the long jump Pokemon. It has little race flag ears. It has a little concerned runaway face, and it has like pole vaulting legs. It's fun. Probosengi are extremely quick-footed, able to run, skip, and hop at top speed over and through any and all obstacles. They will even resort to hopping on tree limbs. If they cannot escape an opponent, they will resort to swift kicks, bobbing and weaving around the enemy's every move until the perfect moment to slip away. Wow, if anybody wants to look at the moves, they eventually get a lot better crafted, but for now I just kind of didn't really understand how movesets worked and just tried to give them every move that I thought they should have. It's got little teeth, there's a little carnivorous thing, there's his little hands, all look sad there. We love Probosengi. Alright, I'll go ahead and give us a break there. Let's go ahead and read some comments again. A shrew... Oh no, we read that already. Chickadee says, your region starters are based on fearsome beasts and final evolution is based on classical Greek myth. That is always a fun route to go to. So the plant is a cactus cat, that evolves into a chimera. The fire starter is a hoop snake that evolves into a fire ice Ouroboros. Iconic. The bat tree shrew relation, I think, was disproved by genetic stuff. Oh no. Well, at the very least, a lot of basal mammals just kind of look like shrew-type devices. I know, like, Insectivora is no longer a group. And a lot of things we call shrews are not even closely related at all. Yeah. AussiemBXP loves Probosengi. Thank you very much. Bats are more closely related to the Phara. They are the most basal members of Laurasia. What is Phara? Primates are in the sister taxon to Laurasia. The Chondrogliers. So we're more closely related to a rat than a bat. Okay. And a bat is more closely related to a cat than you are to your cat. Interesting. Mammalian taxonomy is very difficult for me because I've always liked birds a lot more. Which sounds really basic to say, oh yeah, I like paleontology because I like dinosaurs. But I like birds, and I find their evolution very, very interesting. So it's always fun when people know a lot about mammals. Gotta love mammals. Okay, I think at the very least we ought to finish up the base color. Let's go ahead and add the color to everyone. Color, base, color. Alright. So let's go ahead and grab this. Is this grabbing enough? No. Okay, let's go ahead and edit this. Grow and shrink. Let's go to 4 pixels. That is what I'm talking about. I'm going to need to remember to put that back before I start working on my comic again, because my comic is at a very specific scale for all my tools. Alright, let me get out my reference for what color I intended this to be. So I think I am going to go with the original idea, like a very, very pink. Should I go more of a pink or more of an orange? Let's go with more of an orange, I think. That is very pink. Let's go lighter. Now it's like Igglybuff colored. That's a interesting take. What if we just go like pink? I'm liking the pink. A little grayer maybe. That's too gray. I'm liking that color. That's a nice color. It's a little pinkish. Dance, 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 dance. It's not very centered on the page. That's fine. Ooh, Farah are the panungulates and the pancarnivorans. Okay. So everything from a deer to a bat to a pangolin to a dog. Okay. Interesting. I hope we find more stem bat fossils at some point. I really like bats. And the oldest bat fossils we do have are just like clearly bats. It's a little bit unfortunate. Looks a little bit too much like a nose, or not a nose, a mouth. Let's go with a really dark blue so it looks like an ink splotch. Yeah, I like that. And then let's go ahead and add the dark blue to the eyes as well. Yeah. Then let's get like a yellowish greenish, I think. This might be more difficult to find a good color than I anticipated. Alright, what if we go like that? I'm trying to avoid it looking like throw up. Maybe like a solid green. Nah. What if we go with a really light blue? I think this is the color I'm looking at the most. Looks like bile. Okay. I think pursuing this as a color would be the most wise. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Bat fossils are so annoying. We have lots of clear bats, but like no almost bat. Real. Small little tiny creatures that get devoured by birds. Neon green. Is snot taught in its evolution is going to have a green shiny like snot? Please tell me they do. So I'm feeling the shiny might have red snot. Might have blue. Or it might just be more green. I'm still testing the waters. I'm going to go ahead and grab this color again. And just sort of like placeholder. Put it there. Let's grab this color. And let's make it more red. Darker. Yes. Okay. Okay, I'm liking it. Yes. Okay, but what are we thinking of pink eyes? Nah. Didn't like that. Okay, so we're gonna go with the black eyes again. And you know what else? I think I'm liking the orangey tone more than this pink. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this as this more that color. Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Ooh, we got some comments. Try neon green. Ooh, try this hex code. 90. Okay, now let's see if I even know how to do that on Krita. I know that there's a way. Yes. 9DC100. Frick. 9DC100. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Ooh, iconic. Let me see. What are we... See if I go a little bit lighter. No. The darkness is important, okay. A little bit more olive, maybe. You know what? I am liking this really bright color. Let me bring it over into this one. I might do this more yellowy color in the shiny. Dance, 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 dance. Alright, either way, let's just get the base colors for Rhino Slima going. Yeah, let's be sure to catch that pixel. It's maybe a little too dark, but we will see in a second. Picking the colors takes like all of my brain, so we are going to cope with it. Oops, we missed a bit. Okay. Let's select all of our little hands. Let's grab this color. And then grab the eyes. And actually, let's make the eyes a darker green. That'd be cool. Yeah. Yeah. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the green now. Let me see what it looks like when I change the eyes to a green. It looks maybe too much like a squid. No, I'm liking the green eyes. I'm liking the green eyes. Yeah. This is a little too light of a color now, though. Let's darken that a little bit. There we go. CMBXB, I finally get that their noses with snot coming out of them. Real. When they're not colored, it's a lot harder to tell what they are supposed to be. Looks like it's going na 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 na. Oi, 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 oi. This one's going hoity toity toity toy. Ooh, Andrew asks, how did the dilatarians go from spiral symmetry to glide symmetry? That is an excellent question, which I didn't go into very clearly, but they already had a form of glide symmetry when they were spiraled, because they spiral like this, but basically it would be like, whereas in the glide symmetry is very hard to draw. Yeah. Where there's like that zigzag in a straight line. The spiral ones sort of had the same thing, except every one of these was smaller. So it creates a spiral. So it was more like they created the spiral accidentally because it let them move around like this. Yeah, this spiral indicates how they're moving around, which made it so that it creates a slime trail, and then other organisms, they sense this slime trail and go, okay, I'm gonna go a different way now, and then they leave, and it lets them sort of like claim areas. And just because none of the life forms had enough complex enough of behaviors to combat that, so that's where that came from. And then once they became equal on both sides, they actually like went in a forward direction. And so they actually controlled what direction they were going in instead of just like randomly speeding up and slowing down like this. Like, ooh, I'm going real slow, I'm going in a tight, and then I go fast, and then I go slow, and then I go sort of slow, then I go fast, and then I go slow again, like that. Yeah. Ooh, Chickadee says they're palette generators out there. Iconic. I like to sort of eyeball the palettes. Like, I'm liking this palette. I like to eyeball them, which is not the smartest thing to do, but I find it more engaging. That's too dark. Let's go with a pinker, maybe. This looks like a raw piece of meat. We've sort of gone back to the lighter pink, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it. Actually, let me grab this green color. Let me add the oops. Let me add the green. Okay. Bonk. And now let me draw it over here. Yeah, the dark green being inside looks better, I think. Oops, we accidentally got a little bit of black there. That's fine. Actually, wait. Draw it on the line. There we go. Okay. Looking pretty good. Ooh, you linked the carpet crawler. I am not seeing a link. It might be trying to prove that it's not a virus or something. So hopefully it'll send in a minute, because I would love to see that. Would 100% keep a tank. Iconic. Okay. Dance, 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 dance. Let me see what this would look like with different tone. Maybe more orange. No. Oh, you know what? I like that. I like it like that. Dance, 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 dance. Meow. Yeah, unfortunately, Chickadee, the link does not seem to have gone through. It might be that YouTube doesn't allow links in the YouTube chat, but it might just be processing it to make sure that it's not a virus or something. So if it does come up in the next couple of minutes, I will be able to see it. If it doesn't, that is unfortunate. We will have to find a different route for that in the future. I don't even remember which way I drew this now. It was this way, wasn't it? Yes. Alright, so we've got all three. Now I think... I still don't like this color. Okay. Let's color pick this. A little bit over, a little bit over. Okay. You know what, I do kind of like that, but not too much. Let's commit to something like that. Okay, now it's time for the fun part. We're going to duplicate this layer. Shiny. Actually, let's just, oops. Shiny. Da, da, da. Now let's duplicate. And now that we've saved, yep. Now we can start working on the shiny. I'm going to start with Rhino Slima. Let's see what we can do. If it should be like a bloody nose or not. I mean, that is certainly an iconic look. Let's see with the more yellow color. I might be feeling this yellow. Yeah, I think I'm feeling the yellow. Let's get a darker yellow for the eyes and such. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, I saved it, so now I'm gonna try dark pink, maybe. Now let's try the dark red. Okay, and then we go for a darker red on the eyes. Maybe lighter. This is the authentic art moment of all time. Dance, 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 dance. I do like the idea that it's like a bloody nose. But I don't like that purple. The yellow green is neat. I think the red might be the best. What are we thinking? What are we thinking for the shiny color? Trying to send it with Tumblr itself. Looks like it hates links. That is unfortunate there, friendo. I'm sure we will find a way to get this sent over eventually. For now, I am getting a little antsy. I don't even remember when this started. I think I'm going to pick a couple more colors out and then be done afterward. Ooh, let's try like a gray. Ooh, that looks cool. Okay, I'm feeling the gray. Oops, that is not the color I wanted. There we go. You can grab these, get like an almost purplish color. Yeah. Looks like a zombie. Okay, let's test the yellow now, because I'm liking this grayish purple. Let's see how the yellow looks. Huh. Maybe. I should add some clear bubbles. Yes, indeed. I will in time. I'm going to add like little flecks, sort of like the Paradox Pokemon have. But for now, I'm just trying to get the solid colors down. And then the shading will definitely make it very shiny. So it'll come across pretty well when it's rendered. Andrew says, how did I get the idea for phloem tissue originating deep within the ocean? That is and that is a good question. Now the thought process for that was that obviously the project, the goal is to not really show how fantastical life can become, but rather how different it can become from life on Earth. I think I'm liking the red better. How different life can become from that on Earth, from starting at the same point. And I wanted to create a scenario wherein the plant analogs, I forget what they're called, floor analogs, it was something like that. I wanted to create a scenario wherein they would come to similar conclusions in different ways. Because, to my understanding, plants like Plantae, or whatever their group is called, originated terrestrially? Or at least in shallow enough water to where it wasn't being battered or anything. And I wanted my plants to start as sort of like kelp analogs. I wanted them to be like the dominant thing, whereas on Earth we have like macroalgae and plants. I kind of wanted Lapis to only have their plant analogs. Well, that's interesting. I like this brighter color better, I think. I wanted Lapis to only have their plant analogs, so I decided, okay, so the animal-like creatures, you can get away with them being very different in a lot of very strange ways, but with plant-type devices, a lot of people just don't really seem to care that much about plants, which is unfortunate, because plants are neat, and plant-type devices are neat. And one of the ways that manifested, I think I like this better, one of the ways that manifested, sorry to take so long, colors take a lot of my brain, is that I wanted my aquatic things to evolve plant-like features while still being marine. I think I like that color better. Yeah, I do. I wanted them to evolve plant-like features while still being marine, and because the ocean has such great pressure, I ran into an issue where it's like certain organisms have to either slowly acclimate to, or just be genetically predisposed to exist in a very specific pressure. So like things like blobfish, blob sculpins, which fun fact, blob sculpins do not look like that. They look like regular sculpins when they are in their environment. They are just meant to be so incredibly pressurized that they cannot leave. And because Lapis has very deep oceans and has such high gravity, that is only accentuated. So you have this very high gravity, so organisms have to specialize for different depths. But when it comes to things that photosynthesize, you start running into a lot of more interesting problems. Like, not only do you have to be at certain depths to exist, to be specialized for them, but you also have to be at specific depths and reach specific heights to get light. So, like, very, very long leaf-like devices, they need to exist simultaneously at the very low pressure near the surface and the extremely high pressure at the bottom. So I thought it'd be interesting if they could actually exist being really large and existing through different gradations of that pressure by creating phloem tissue to force against the pressure, force liquids down. Because very light things just really want to go up. And because the flesh is more dense than the liquid inside of it, the liquid would not want to go down. It would want to be pushed up. So they created phloem, or a phloem-like device, by just needing to exist in deep water because it was easier for them to take root, and then getting light from the surface when they are grown enough. And I think that's really cool, and it's going to end up doing a lot of interesting things for the plant-like devices on Lapis, because they already have, or at least one group already has, phloem-like tissue, which is clearly beneficial, especially on land. Ooh. Because on land, obviously, pushing water up when you are currently in the water is a lot easier than pushing water up when you are not, you are just a flaccid thing on the ground. So it is going to help them maintain their structure on land at some point. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But basically, that is the scenario that they arose to the same conclusion for different but similar means. And I think that's cool. Ooh, Chickadee says you're fascinated by the lack of fungi analogs. Ooh. So we are getting there in the next episode. And part of the reason that I have not really touched on it yet is because I'm still not entirely sure how I want to talk about them, because obviously I explained it early on in the project, I'm not going to draw a bunch of amorphous microscopic things. But how do I represent fungal analogs? And this is where it gets fun, because, spoiler, this is a spoiler, everybody, one of the, how do I forget what my own things are called? One of the lanolomorphs, okay, is going to become the fungal analog. And by that, I mean one of the lines that first evolves actual roots, like roots that absorb nutrients, is going to become the fungal analog. And instead of being like a fairly microscopic type device, it is basically going to be like a root that grows in directions. So it's still going to functionally be the same as like mycelium, but it's going to be a lot bigger to start off with. And that's going to be really cool. Obviously, they're going to lose the ability to photosynthesize. There are quite a few parasitic plants. There are even some parasitic plants that do not photosynthesize at all and are obligate parasites. And the fungal group is essentially going to be a parasitic plant type device that becomes its own like soil existing thing. And that's going to be really cool. I keep saying that. It's cool. It's neat. Science fiction. Fun. But otherwise, currently the fungal analog in the ocean is basically just the worm type things, the nematode like devices. What did I call them? Wigglers. Yeah. So they just sort of exist everywhere, and a lot of them are microscopic. But once it gets on land, we are going to get to some very interesting conclusions that are very, very counterintuitive to the way that Earth currently exists and has existed. Andrew Fong asks, why are they yellow? Know about the blobfish? Iconic. I heard the kelp have phloem-like tissue. Ooh, that's interesting. I know that a lot of macroalgae are not related to each other, and it's just interesting. But they are yellow because they are green. The xanthophylls, I mean. I think I'm bored of coloring, by the way. So after I finish this topic, I think we are going to close off the stream. But the xanthophylls, the xanthophyllipirins, are yellow because they are green, and that is because they have the same what do I even refer to it as? The same chemical stuff that makes photosynthesis happen in earth plants, which is why don't I remember what anything is called? Anyways, basically, it makes things look green because it reflects red, or it absorbs red light especially. Right? Yes. Okay. But there are other chlorophyll, that's what it's called. There are other forms of chlorophyll, but my made up things have the same chlorophylls as plants do. And the interesting thing about plants is that plants aren't all the same color, and that is because they have what are called accessory pigments. Now, these are pigments that lie around the chlorophyll and the chloroplast, and it essentially alters the light that enters and also the light that reflects from the surface and the innards of the plant type device. And the ones on lapis are yellow and brown, and all the way to green. They can still be green, but they are those colors because they have the accessory pigments that allow them to reflect yellow light. And because they reflect the yellow light, they're just specialized. You know, a lot of kelp type devices are yellow as well because it lets them specialize for certain wavelengths and certain depths of water, because light sort of gets snuffed in a very odd way when going through water. And once life on Lapis gets to land, the plant analogs are still going to be yellow, but a lot of them are just kind of going to end up looking like regular plants, being green. But the yellow is very important because being able to reflect yellow light is important, since the star that Lapis orbits peaks in yellow light, whereas our sun technically peaks at green. Functionally, it does not. Functionally, the sun is white, believe it or not, and the star around Lapis is white as well, but it does peak in yellow. So, to prevent burning, they are yellow, essentially. It is a combination of them specializing for specific depths underwater, where their photosynthesis is most prolific, more prolific than if they were green, and also them just coping with the sun being a deadly laser. But I think that I've droned on enough. We have looked at a still image of Rhino Saliva with a bloody nose this whole time. Let me go ahead and save all my files. I will be finishing this up later on my own time. For now, thank you everyone who has attended Kandy Egg's little thing. It has been fun. I'm getting very antsy. I need to go run around now. Okay, good. My thing was still working right. Sometimes my little talkie guy just like has noise somehow, and the mouth just keeps moving when my computer has too many things it needs to keep track of. But thank you once again, everybody who tagged along. I always love to see ya. I will be streaming at some point again, randomly, probably with either my Comic Tantrums construct or the ever so coveted exobiology project, which is just called that. I probably should have named it something more interesting, but that is just what it is called for now, and probably forever, because that's what I used for the marketing stuff. But I will be seeing everyone at some point later on in the future. Ooh, I should check those comments now that they are rolling in. There's like a minute or two delay. If anyone didn't... I forgot my character was directly in front of the chat. Unfortunate. Should have moved it to the other side. I knew the sun was white, and W stream, W viewer is what I say. W viewers, W chat participation. I hope we all made some good progress on our little art projects in the meantime, or whatever we're doing, cleaning, etc. Whatever people do when listening to streams. I know I'm either doing art or cleaning. Thus is the way. Project Lapis. That is one that I've toyed around. I just call it my exobiology project when I talk to people, so I might keep it that. I definitely not going to make another world. I might just keep it being named that, because unlike a lot of people, I don't want to make a second one. This is kind of just like the one thing that I'm going to keep doing. But thank you again, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and log now. I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of their day and keeps on keeping on with exobiology and Fakemon and whatever and what have you. Have a nice day, everyone.